More to Marketing. Welcome to More to Marketing, a podcast on marketing, product, and everything in between. I'm your host, Susan, and today I have a special guest. Our special guest is a huge expert in the space of partnerships. It's also a #1 bestseller on Amazon. So I'd like to introduce Therese. So Therese, as I just mentioned, has a bestseller called Swap on Amazon, so do check that out. She's an expert marketer, partnership expert, keynote speaker, and supporter of all small businesses. So welcome, Therese.
Thank you, Susan. Such a pleasure to be here, and hello to everybody listening.
Fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, more than what I've just shared?
Of course. So, like lots of women, I am, I'm a mum, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm, a daughter, and all of that becomes this beautiful tapestry of what I've become from my career, the support network I have that allows me to have the professional life that I enjoy. So as you said, I love marketing. I love partnerships. I have been in marketing for more than 20 years. It's nearly 30, but and that's showing my age. But definitely marketing was something that when I studied it, it was, I'll say, a creative discipline. And when I first started out in marketing, you would have an idea and you would take it to your boss, and your boss could just say, I don't like it. Now, marketing has become a data-driven discipline. And with that data has incredible insights and opportunities. And one of those things that I was able to see and capitalize on a long time ago was the power of actually working with another business who had the same customer as you and creating something that gave the customer an even better experience than if they dealt with the companies individually. So that's what I love to do. And so, as you said, I give me an opportunity, I will jump on stage and I will tell you. I will tell you in my book. I will tell you in a one-on-one session. And I have been a small business quite a few times. I started my first small business in my 20s and really kind of amped it up. So it was around the world in about 5 countries. And I've sold that. I've started other ones. I've had other ones that have failed. And during that whole process, I've also been a mentor for women in business. So for about 16 years, I've helped other women, I guess, navigate that path. So it's something I feel really strongly about. I think the decision to start your own business is massive. And small business owners are brave and nimble and fast and agile, and they are 100 good things. And so I want to be the person that supports those people to make the most commercial opportunity that gives them the objectives that they want to meet, whether that is a business objective and financial, or whether that is actually a personal objective from a lifestyle point of view for their family. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
I love it. And I love the focus on collaboration. It's just making everything better for everybody. I love that. I love win-win situations. So,
Absolutely.
so I would love to delve more into your topics of expertise. So about finding the right partnerships and collaborations, what steps should people start looking at and how do you go about that?
Great. So when we think about partnerships, I just want to make it super clear. So this is not a financial partnership, as in someone taking equity in your company and becoming an owner of your company. This is where we talk about, and it's got all these names. So it could be called a strategic marketing partnership. Sometimes it's called a strategic alliance. Sometimes it's called a JV or a joint venture. Sometimes it's called a brand collaboration. But essentially what it is when two businesses, as I said, come together and they create something is marketing. They create a marketing campaign or an asset that helps their mutual customer. And in the process, they can both companies can gain and grow. So when we talk about how to find the right partnership, the first thing is about what your objective is. So if you are a new business, and you might be in a physical location, a geographical location. That might be around brand awareness. It might be getting people to actually know that your doors are open and you
Mm.
exist. Whereas an e-commerce company, it could be around pushing traffic to their site. For a data-driven company, it could be around creating content, or even in terms of leadership. So you might be an accountant, and you actually want to be known as the accountant who helps small businesses use their equity to buy a premises or something like that. So what is the opportunity that you can provide? And so when you're looking for a partnership, the first thing you need to do is kind of really analyze, like, what are you trying to do? Is it about reach? So that's getting people to know you exist. Is it about credibility, which is getting people to know that you are a leader or an expert or someone that they can trust? And the third thing is, it's about differentiation. There are 1,000 of all of us. There's 1,000 photographers. There's 1,000 pizza shops. There's 1,000 accountants. We all have businesses and roles that lots of people do. So then from our customers, we want to stand out. We want to differentiate. We want to show how we can help our customer so they're attracted to us. So partnerships are also a way that you can differentiate from a business that's just like yours. And when we do differentiate, then what we find is that we can also be more profitable. We can stop fighting on the cents. We can actually, if we've got a product, then we can actually charge what we should be charging for it, and not have to discount that product and discount ourselves or our service, because we've established a reach, we've gained some credibility, and we've gained some differentiation.
Yep. I think one of the biggest fears I'd assume that would be for small businesses in particular is the time and cost involved in going about looking for this right collaboration or partnership. Because as you said, you don't want to reduce your cost of what you sell your product for, but then they're also looking at their actual P&L and the cost of doing business. Is it going to cost you money to actually go out and find these collaborations or partners?
This is a really big thing for me, hence why I have a book called Marketing Without Money, because it is really about collaborations do not have to cost 1 cent. Now, they're not free in terms of what you are trading is the assets that you have built in your business. So if you have a physical presence, as in a store, a showroom, an office, somewhere that people walk in the door, then an asset is your physical space. Who hasn't got a physical space? Example, I'm working on a collaboration at the moment for two small businesses. One is an artist, one has a furniture brand. The furniture brand is in a different state and wants to have this amazing evening for interior designers to come and see her product.
Mm-hmm.
The artist has a gallery and is doing amazing, beautiful work that's actually going to appear on TV and media quite soon. And so his star is rising. So I put the two together and said, why don't you actually both collaborate in terms of you have a physical space that the furniture company could use in your state, in your location. She has an amazing connection and database with interior designers. Mm-hmm. That's not something that you have, and you would like to know a lot of interior designers to get them to know your artwork. And what this will cost you is a few bottles of champagne, some cheese and pickies from Woolworths.
Yep.
And you're both in. So you're both using your own assets. So the furniture company, reputation, credibility with interior designers, and her database. And the artist is using the physical location, the gallery space in that other state, to create a campaign together where they're both going to benefit. And for the interior designer who attends, they get to not only see the new furniture, but actually an amazing emerging artist that they can then, show and sell to their clients.
That just sounds like a perfect type of collaboration where you think they're so far removed, but as you said, they've got the same type of base that they're wanting to connect with.
Yes. And that's the whole thing about collaboration. It is not how similar you are in terms of, or a natural combination. So for example, just say, wine and cheese. Like, yep, okay, wine and cheese, great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually around who has the same audience, who has the same customer as you. So
Yep.
you could have a dance studio, so who is coming to a dance studio? Well, first of all, parents
Mm.
of children.
Yep.
So who else is marketing to parents of children? It could be a tutoring service.
Yep.
It could be a clothing shop. It could be a hair lice
Mm-hmm.
salon. It could be, so the collaboration is about your target audience
Mm.
and what collectively you could create to actually help them to have a better experience.
Yep.
And so again, like that could be, imagine if you're, like you're a pool builder and then you actually collaborated with somebody who came and was able to clean the pool, test the water.
Mm.
Then the customer is like, oh my gosh, not I don't know what to do with a new
Mm-hmm.
pool. And they say, well, this is a business that we love working with. They'll keep your pool looking amazing.
Mm.
So
And
for the customer, yeah, they've got a great decision.
you could even build on that as well, like the pool example. It could be okay, we'll put your pool in, but here's a landscaper we recommend.
Absolutely.
And as you said, and then it could also be maybe somewhere that sells pool toys. So you could build that out even further. Then you got shade cloths, and I can see how that can really build out that it's all one, almost like an ecosystem where you all help each other.
Absolutely. And they are the best partnerships when you've got multiple companies who come together. And one of my favorite examples was when six very, very small companies, as in single person businesses,
Mm.
kind of came together and they created a competition. The customer, that the winner won a $30,000 prize. And what this was six companies contributing, I'll say, a prize of
Mm-hmm.
$5,000 in value, which was actually like a few hours with somebody, or a plan, or and so these six businesses, just to give you an idea, one was somebody who got the idea of a book out of your head and
Mm-hmm.
into a Word document. There was an accountability coach who actually
Mm-hmm.
kept you on track. There was a publisher who took your Word document and made it into a book.
Yep.
There was a photographer who took a great headshot for you so you could, use it on your book and promote it. There was a printer who made that book into a paperback that you could physically hold.
Yep.
And there was a videographer who created a book trailer to sell your book.
Oh,
Now,
beautiful.
all of those six companies have the same target customer in
Mm.
terms of somebody who's interested in publishing a book,
Yep.
but none of them compete.
Mm. Exactly.
And when you think about that, those six companies have now created a database. So they have a database that they can all use
Mm.
to talk to that customer about their individual service. But that was a competition. That could have easily been, imagine if they did a weekend workshop,
Mm.
like a physical play where they all got together and for one weekend you came together and learned everything you needed to know, and maybe they took your photo for your headshot and they
Mm.
created a little bit of video for you and did all of this thing, so you walked away with a week from the weekend with an end result. Or what if it was actually a digital collaboration where they were all creating articles, they were all interviewing each other on podcasts and actually creating written content
Mm.
and was sharing social feeds and actually coming together and creating a digital infrastructure. So your choice of word is perfect in terms of a great marketing collaboration is when you're using everything in your toolbox,
Mm.
right? And so that's how it differs from an influencer. So people probably have heard of, influencer marketing, which is a brilliant, amazing lever that you can pull. But with an influencer, it is usually a person who
Yes.
has influence, usually on one platform.
Mm.
Could be more, but that it is about, and that's almost like a business to a person that goes out to their audience. When you do a brand to brand collaboration, that brand has a database. That brand might have a location. That
Mm.
brand probably has procedures. that brand has collateral, it has influence, they might be part of business groups. So it is using everything in your toolbox that you know that you've built in your business to work with another business who's got the things that you don't have.
Exactly. And you've reminded me of this group called the Mark Alliance. It's mostly based in I believe, the US region, where specialists in their field are all part of this alliance. And you have to be at a certain reputation, a specialty of field, all those kind of individual pieces to be part of that. And then they all do share and influence with each other and make sure that they are contributing to the greater good of the Mark Alliance itself.
Great. And there's local versions, not the same,
Mm.
but local versions. Like you've got things like BNI, which is like a networking group, and they exist to actually refer each other. So you're not actually trying to get business in that room. You're showing all the businesses in that room what you do. So then
Mm.
they talk to their customers, friends, family, acquaintances, and say, I know someone who you should work with.
Mm.
And again, like I love referral marketing in terms of that's how most of us exist.
Mm.
Our customers usually come to us because we know stuff and they say, like, for example, I'm in marketing. So people come to me and they say, do you know someone who can build a website?
Mm.
Do you know someone who can do SEO? Do you know someone who can do PR?
Yep.
Do you know an event organizer? So they ask me for referrals or companies that I think are good that they could engage with. Beautiful. Put referral and partnership together in terms of how could I take that referral? So just say I'm always referring a PR agency that I
Mm.
love. I think they do great work. Amazing. So, what if we leverage that? What if we leverage that referral partnership and we actually created content from it? So,
Mm.
we created a little series, a podcast series, a blog series, a YouTube series where we both talked about our specific, specialties and actually released that. And what that is, I'm talking to a PR company at the moment. So what PR company is great at? Getting editorial, getting you in the media.
Yep.
What I'm great at from a marketing point of view, because I've worked with TV shows for decades, is I'm very good at taking your 15 seconds of fame and making it into a year of marketing. So together, if we work together, just say we had the same customer, which we do, then I could say, go to the PR company first, secure the media, and then I will show you how to maximize that across all your assets on a long-term basis. And so that the things that we could create, as I said, articles, podcasts, videos, we could create a whole lot of things together. So it's not just relying on me to say, I know someone. It's the marketing, the content is giving us the ability to have always on marketing.
Mm-hmm. And it's always going back and just really emphasizing the work that has been done in that 15 seconds of fame and really stretching it out, like you said.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what marketing is, right?
Mm.
Like marketing is not one message once on one platform and then we forget about it. Marketing is
Mm.
reinforcing. I mean, Google's moment of truth talks about 7-11-4. So 7 hours, people need to consume 7 hours of content across 4 different platforms with 11 different types of interactions in terms of medium. So they could read, watch, see, click, do, download, something. So 7-11-4 is something that Google has come up with. But what that means is exactly what you're saying. It is about if I don't see that program that night and I blink or I'm making a cup of tea and I miss that moment, then people assume, oh my gosh, I've been on TV, my website's going to melt down. No. You need to grab that 15 seconds of fame and you need to milk it into an article, into a podcast, into 5 tips, into all these different things that you can actually use over a long period of time to capitalize on that one great thing.
Exactly, exactly. And you've touched on a whole pile of different partnerships there, but can you actually talk to us about the types of partnerships themselves, just in a little bit more detail? Because you've given loads of examples, but it's actually talk about, I suppose, more the theory or, um, you know what I mean, about the
Yes,
actual partnership
absolutely.
itself.
Yeah, there's three main types of partnerships. So one is where you use your product or your service. So that could be where you're doing co-branded activity. So as in a Nike and Tiffany have got together and
Mm,
they created co-branded products. So it has both brands on the product. But a very simple example of that is, when you might go to an event and you get a goodie bag and it's actually got a product. What we do with a product or a service is we want to get it into the hands of our ideal customer
mm.
for them to try it. So you could actually have samples or testers or trials
Mecca does
or
that well.
yeah, exactly. So
Mm,
so first partnership is when who has got the customers that you would like to get,
mhm.
acquire. And so how could you collaborate using your physical product or service? The next one is when you use your knowledge or your IP to create a digital collaboration. So this is particularly suited if you're a professional. So if you are an interior designer, if you are an architect, if you are an accountant, if you're a personal trainer. So the things that we do as a service. And so that personal trainer might know the 6-week program to get a better body after having a baby,
Mhm.
or how to recover from an injury or something like that. So that knowledge that they have in their discipline, you could create a partnership with another company. So, for example, with the personal trainer, it could be actually with a nutrition company
Mm,
or a food company. So, and again, what you're trading, what you're using, leveraging is your knowledge or your IP to teach a customer something, another person's customer. So then they will know you, like
mhm.
you, trust you, and come over and try to experience your service. And the last one is when I touched on before, it's where you use a physical, a physical location or a physical experience. So this is where we have trade shows. This might be a pop-up so you might have a location.
Mhm.
Uh, these are great if you've got like a retail store. So retail store might actually have an artist come in, or it might be you see this like when you go and buy a bottle of wine, and one of the vineyards is in the wine shop and actually saying, "Would you like to test our wine?" So when you've got a physical location that people can walk into and they get to try and experience, meet you, talk to you, and create a memory from it.
Yep.
And obviously memories are super powerful because we can test, we can try, we can talk. Amazing for e-commerce companies
Mm.
because sometimes e-commerce companies they have this beautiful, beautiful customer base, but then when they actually do a real life activation, then they're like, oh, I got to meet the owner. She's so cool. Oh, I
Mhm.
feel really connected to this now. And I got to touch the product and see the quality and hear about it. And so there's a bigger connection, a
That
more emotional.
trustability.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, an emotional connection. So they're the three. So one, you use your product or your service. Two, you need use your knowledge or your IP to create
Mhm.
something digital. And the third one is when you create an in-person experience.
Yep. And I personally have the three of them. I do love the last one. I
Me
do
too.
love to touch and feel myself.
Absolutely. I think, and especially after COVID, I feel like that is the biggest one that can have the biggest impact
Mm.
because I think we are craving that experience, that connection.
Mm.
Um, I mean, great, amazing, digital, so good, right? We're all on digital, we're all connecting, but there's something more memorable, more powerful about doing it in person.
Exactly. 100% agree. But what are your top tips for finding the right partner? So you've given us, like I said, many examples, but what would be your best, say, two top tips that you'd give for someone who's actually doing this for the first time and doesn't even know where to start?
Yeah, great. First one would be, as I said, you're already referring people, right? Like you've already got somebody that you're always talking about. And it could be anything from a piece of software to a service like a photographer that you always use, someone that you always kind of naturally refer to. It could be a coffee shop. It could be so the first thing I would say, if you're starting training wheels on, would be look at the companies that you're already referring to
Mm.
because you've already got that relationship. They know you exist. They know that they've got customers because you've been driving your customers into their store or service. And go and have a curious conversation with them and say, hey, I love your business and I'm always referring customers to you. I'd really like to amp it up. I think that
Mm-hmm.
we should do something together. So we're actually referring each other all the time, but it's more definite. So instead of it being ad hoc,
Yep.
verbal, let's actually create a page on my website where I've got your details, or let's create an afternoon, or let's create a webinar together, something that is,
Even an article.
yeah, exactly. And as you say, if you're on new training wheels, this can be so small. It could be, why don't I create an article for you to send out on your email, and you create an article for me that I
Yep.
send out on my email? Or you write something and I'll post it on social.
Mm.
Could be super, super simple. So don't, don't, and I guess in terms of if people are like, oh, that's a bit scary to contacting another business and asking them if they want to work together, think of it in terms of where's the easy yes. Like if
Mm.
you were saying, so with the furniture example, I know that furniture company has leather furniture. A question that I always get asked is, how do I, like, after my kids spill something on it, or like how do I clean my leather furniture?
Mm.
And so they always refer this particular kind of, like dry cleaner, steam cleaner person who can come out if it's like a big, a
Yeah.
big accident. But what if you actually created an article on, oh my gosh, the red wine has gone over my new leather lounge, what do I do?
Yep.
And so then that is helping the furniture company because they are showing you that you can troubleshoot if something
Yep.
happens. And it's promoting the other company who can actually fix that problem if you don't want to fix it yourself. So just think of it in terms of that. Where's the easy yes? What would be a really easy thing that you can do? A really easy article,
Mm.
share something that's very low touch, but it helps both companies and the customer, ultimately the customer.
I think the other thing for me in this example is the first time you do it, you don't have to give a discount. It's an introduction to show who you are, what your business does. See how that performs. Then maybe in the future, do another one where you might do a discount or a special offer or a meet and greet or wherever it might be. You don't always have to give away value of your product.
Absolutely not. I mean, I always try to never discount because
Mm.
I think that's an easy trigger. You can always offer a discount, but I think it for partnerships, this is people love partnerships when brands come together and do something
Mm.
interesting, chatworthy, shareable, because it has this brag value. I got this because it was a limited edition. I got this. I got to
Oh,
meet this person. I got to get someone's signed book. And so it's the brag value that has the value.
exactly.
I can save $2, but will I actually care about 2.20, whatever. Whereas if I've got something that is bigger and better and more alluring and more brag worthy, then I don't really care,
Mm-hmm.
that the discount doesn't seem as attractive.
Yeah.
So this is where again it's like, what could you do? Like what, and this is where we see the concept of marketing where we say, why don't we have a discovery call? Or would you like to actually spend some time with me? Or
Have a
would you like,
coffee.
yeah, would you like to me to get under the bonnet of your business and I can do this for
Mm.
you? Or so the ability to have an expert or somebody who's great at, getting stains out or personal training or that photographer or whoever you are, that ability to share that expertise has a huge perceived value, more so than saying, I'll give you 5%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what I'm seeing a lot of small business maybe not doing it as well, is they are just giving away value and not realizing that there's a value in itself in the partnership that they don't have to give anything away yet.
Yes. So I would say small businesses truly believe that they don't have anything to offer. That is, could not be further from the truth.
Mm.
So I've worked for very big, big, big global brands, big listed companies. And so even think of, I'm just going on a tangent, think of Commonwealth Bank, huge, I don't know, $1 billion company, right? Like big, big company. What do they have? They have an innovation lab. Why do they have an innovation lab? Because they need to get small businesses to create different things to different markets to show agility. The great thing about being a big brand, obviously, lots of money, lots of resources. The bad thing about being a big brand, not nimble, it takes
Very slow.
time, very, very slow. So when I have always worked with big businesses, I've worked to collaborate with smaller brands
Mm.
because they get stuff done
Yep.
really fast. They see an opportunity. They want to grab it with both hands. They're hungry. They will work harder, jump higher. And so the big brand has all of these assets. But what is transferable is the big brands get to borrow their innovation, their
Mm.
spark, their enthusiasm. And also small brands usually have a figurehead, a leader, and that is incredibly alluring because big brands sometimes are quite faceless.
Mm.
And so to actually put a small brand in front of their big brand and say, look at what our customers do. Like, this is Bob. Meet Bob. He's one of our customers. This
Yep.
is what Bob does. Then it makes them a lot more attractive. It makes them a lot more emotionally
It's all
connectable.
that relatability, isn't it?
Absolutely. Because sometimes we see big businesses and they're
Mm.
just so big and we
Mm.
just, they're a mountain.
Yep.
And so when we see them working with smaller businesses, then we're like, wow, they really support small business. They're really doing great things. Oh, I like the story about how Bob uses your product and this is how he uses it. I'm a bit like Bob.
Mm-hmm.
I could be like Bob.
Yep.
And so it's this beautiful connectivity.
Yep. No, that's fantastic. I love that. And that probably brings us perfectly into the next example of what is a deal and how do you go about these deals that you do when you're working with your potential new partnership.
Great. So a deal can be, as I said, a referral partner is a deal. I'll talk about you, you talk about me. Not structured, not written down, not accountable. When we do a brand partnership, if there is money being invested, so for example, if I always talk about when Four Pillars Gin and Go To Skincare came together and they created the new Go To Gin. So when you think about that, they would have had to invested in the new label, like they would have invested to
Mm.
actually come up with that product. Now, when you do a partnership where there's money that needs to be invested, you should absolutely get legal advice. You should absolutely structure it because there could be a lot of money lost. But when you're like the yoga studio and the coffee shop, and you're like, hey, why don't you do a discount, like a voucher for a free coffee, and I'll do a voucher for a free class, and we'll put it in each other's location. Then I say that's a Word document. That's like
Mm.
a heads of agreement. That is something written on email or Word that just kind of says, here's what we both are agreeing to. I'm agreeing that every person that comes into my coffee shop, I will say, hey, have you tried the new yoga studio? Here's
Mm-hmm.
a voucher if you want to try it. And you're going to do this. Every time someone comes into the
Mm-hmm.
yoga studio, you're going to say, hey, did you love the class? Why don't you go and get a free coffee? And so you both agree. And then, for example, then you could say, I agree to put you in my newsletter once, for one time. And I agree to do 2 posts. And I agree to do this. That's a Word document. It's an agreement in principle. And when I say that, you put it in a document because it's like a handshake. It's like
Mm.
it, and it's transparency. Where deals go wrong is when people went, oh, I thought that
Mm.
you would do this and this and this. I thought or I assumed you meant this and
Yep.
this and this. And so that's when people go, oh, well, this went bad because I
Mm.
assume you were going to do something and you didn't do it. So the Word document is so everybody knows what each other are doing. And as I said, this is not any money changing hands. This is like, I'll give you a 200-word article and 3 pictures, and you put it in your newsletter. And I say that I'm going to get it to you by the end of August. So therefore, it can be in your September newsletter. So everything's mapped out. So then there's no transparency. It's like, oh, I thought you meant the August newsletter.
Mm.
Oh, so the so when you do a deal, it is about what can I give and what will I get back? Like,
Yep.
so you have 2 parties and you're saying, I'll put you in a newsletter, I'll do the flyer, I'll use your furniture in my trade show. So the artists in the furniture. So just say they both did a trade show exhibition. So I'll do this. This is what it'll look like. And
Mm.
if anybody asks, I'll give them their flyer. So it's just communicated. So there's no way that you can assume anything and
Mm.
therefore get upset.
Just removes all that ambiguity. It's just this is what we're getting, black and white. And I'd assume also, because this is me now assuming, that in this document it also talk about trackability as well, so that you can know if it's successful or not.
For sure. So obviously you and I marketers, this is like we live and die on data, right? Like
Exactly.
this is our you know, so when we think about the coffee shop and things, obviously you've got a voucher. You want to make sure that you're actually when the voucher comes to you, you're physically noting that somehow, whether it's through a QR code or some other device. When we are doing a digital collaboration, then we obviously have a unique code or link that we can use to see how many people are coming through to our website from that piece of content. The reason that we want to do that more so than anything else is we could actually in our deal we could say newsletter, social media, flyer, and we could have 3 trackable codes. And for example, we could go, geez, that flyer generated 80% of our new business. So
Mm-hmm.
do you know what? Let's double down on flyers.
Yep.
Let's,
Pareto rule.
exactly. So the trackability is one, it's about your ability to know what works and what doesn't.
Yep.
But a great partnership is when you go back and you share the results and say, this is what happened, this is what happened.
Mm.
Because when you put a deal together and then you execute on that deal and you create an amazing partnership, one, you want to go back to that partner and show them how clever they were for partnering with you. Show them all the great things that happened from their one decision.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I call that a success pack. And in that success pack, that's almost like your case study to get the next partner
Yep.
because it shows that you were able to, the ideation, you're able to come up with the idea, you were able to deliver, you were able to track and
Mm-hmm.
demonstrate, and therefore you have a learning. And so you can then package that up as a bit of a case study, go to the next partner and say, hey, I just did this with the yoga studio or the accountant or the personal trainer or the pool builder, and I would love to work with you. This is how we could do it. No money changing hands. We have a Word document with the deliverables. We use the assets that we've already got in our business, and we give and we do all of this in the spirit of giving the customer the ultimate win.
Exactly. And because you're reusing everything, the small businesses don't have to invest anywhere near as much time because they've already got most of it sitting there. It might be a couple of updates to maybe an end date or it could be just a URL change for a code or something like that. But it's really minimum work once you start rolling this out to other partners.
Absolutely. You could have a coupon that you did in Canva, and then you're literally just changing, as you said, the link. So, or the QR code, just a new link, just a new QR code that you can do in Canva. But it's so you can track it, and you just go through Bitly or whatever, just a way for you to track that. And exactly as you said, it's still got your colors, your everything. You could just
Mm.
hit print and off you go. Of course, then if you have got something really simple like Canva, you can drop your partner's logo
Mm-hmm.
on that piece of collateral as well. And then, as I said, that could be a digital. So it cost you 5 minutes of time on Canva and you're done. Or it could be that you might actually, so this is where I'm saying sometimes it's not free, as in you might decide that you want to print those flyers to give to
Mm.
the yoga studio. Well, that's not free. That costs a little bit of money, but it's not a huge investment.
Yeah.
It's a small investment, and the money, you're not paying the yoga studio to give out your flyers. You're doing a partnership. So they do something for you, you do something for them.
Exactly. No, I love it. No, thank you so much for going through all these. I do have, I will give you an opportunity first. Is there anything else you'd love to add about collaboration and partnership before I go to my final question?
Look, as you can hear, I could talk about this all day and all night. Um, but I guess if I wanted to leave you with one piece of, advice, it would be just start. Like, just
Mm.
what's the worst thing that can happen? It's hard being a business owner by yourself. It is way more fun working with people who know and love your customer as much as you do. And the rewards are there. Again, just be really transparent, really upfront. This is what I'm going to do, this is what you're going to do. But just start and just reach out to, as you said, the just the companies that you're already dealing with, that you're already good friends with. So it's a nice, easy yes,
Mm-hmm.
and you're off and running.
Love it. Love it. Uh, Final question for you. If you were a brand, what brand would you be and why?
Oh, what a great question. Um, the first thing that popped into my head was Boost.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say Boost because that's what I thought of. But I was thinking, am I Chanel? And I was thinking, no, I'm way too daggy.
You could be
Um,
both.
could be a collaboration between
I,
Boost and Chanel.
I've had someone that's listed five. So,
Right. I think for me, a brand is something you feel. It's way more than a logo. It's 100
mm,
things that add up to the way a customer remembers you. And so I feel like I really like Boost Juice in terms of they have this really great experience. It's very individual, very customized, gets you what you want quickly. I mean, I remember when Boost first started, and it was like $6 for like, a smoothie. And
yep,
that was
a
like more than
lot.
20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. I mean, now I think it's like $9 or $10, right? So, but it was aspirational, but it was aspirational in terms of lifestyle. It was aspirational in terms of health. It
Mm.
was colorful. It was run by this fantastic woman. So I think for me that the characteristics of that are aspirational for me. That is
Mhm.
something that I would like to be seen as, is, as nimble and bright and agile and a good price point,
Helping others.
helping others. Exactly. So
Yep.
I'm going to go with Boost.
I love it. I love Boost. Thank you so much, Therese. I really enjoyed today. We've learnt so much, particularly when we're going into partnerships and collaborations to analyze what we actually want to do first. So we understand the purpose. So going back into reach, credibility, and differentiation. And then what type of partnership might work best depending on what we do. So if we're got our product or service, maybe we could do something with those items themselves physically. If we're more about our knowledge and IP, because we're more service based, how can we bring that to life, maybe through teaching? And the third option that we had to talk through was also the physical experience and making something magical in that tactile experience. And of course, this is all about experimentation. There doesn't have to be a huge amount of costs involved in this. It's about following the passion, following who you naturally refer to already, and just having a coffee to start with and seeing what that might go to. So thank you again so much. I've really loved having you on here. For anyone that wants to know more, the book will be in the link. So you have to check out Swap. Swap is a #1 bestseller on Amazon. But again, thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, I think we're both kindred spirits in terms of we love marketing, we love branding, we want to see businesses succeed and
Mm.
stand out. So it has been an absolute pleasure. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And for anyone who isn't already subscribed, please make sure to subscribe to More2Marketing to hear more fantastic podcasts. More to Marketing.